What's up and welcome to another episode of Football Everyday, coming to you live and direct from the Star's brand new Studio V at the Wanatama Shopping Centre in PJ. I'm Nelsen, and joining me today on Football Everyday, the usual Football Everyday guys, Mr. Shebby and Zack, Yusof. Say hi.
Hello.
Guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Plenty to look forward to in today's show, as along with all the football chat as usual, special guest Mr. Bojan Hodak will be joining us later on to talk about the impact of futsal culture on football in Malaysia and also the importance of youth development. Of course, we'll also be updating you on the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest, which we all know is into its fourth and final week tomorrow. But more of that later on. Moving straight into the football chat though, a bunch of interesting matches took place yesterday and this morning. I think it produced something we haven't seen in a while, where Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United all won their matches. So you've got to start with Man U. They came from behind at St James's Park to beat Newcastle 2-1, and they now find themselves with a 7-point lead with a game in hand over their nearest rivals. Shebby, can United do no wrong at the moment, or can you see them slipping up somehow?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I don't think Man United will do too much wrong between now and end of the season. And as far as the league is concerned, we've seen Sir Alex Ferguson, finally teach Rafa Benitez what the this tinkering with the team is about. The rotation policy is all about. You need to have quality players. Only then you can rotate them. He's done that really well. In the cup competitions, I do think in a one-off game, in a knockout game, somebody will have a chance against Man United. For Chelsea, I think Gus Hiddink coming in, has given them the right lift at the right time. Liverpool played better against Sunderland because the pressure is off now. They know they're not going to win the league. So for a mixture of reasons, but I still feel United are a bit too strong right now.
Yeah, I was just going to come to that. I mean, Chelsea beat Portsmouth narrowly 1-0, at Fratton Park. Chelsea have won all their games since Gus Hiddink took over. So presuming United run away with the title, Shebby, you think the Blues are a better bet for second place than Liverpool?
I would think so, yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I mean, the change has come at the right time. Is it the right change or the wrong change? That we'll see over the course of the season. But you can look at the likes of Didier Drogba and think, he's become a totally different player now. So if you don't have a happy dressing room, you're always going to have problems.
Zack, you echo Shebby's opinion?
Yeah, certainly. I think Chelsea are better placed to go for that second slot, primarily because it's the confidence thing, right? You got guys like Drogba coming back at the right time. I think Shebby hit the nail on the head when he said, Liverpool play well against Sunderland because the pressure is off. That's not a championship winning team.
Yeah, that's right, definitely. I think we've got to take a look at fourth place as well. All the hype about Aston Villa, they've been brought back down to earth, so to speak, in the last 4 or 5 games.
That's right.
And they now find themselves just three points ahead of Arsenal in fourth, What do you make of Arsenal,
I think I think Martin O'Neill will be worried. During the course of a season, every club will go through a bit of a bad spell, and unfortunately for Aston Villa, I think it's happening now. I mean, 2 up against Stoke City, 10 minutes to go, it's game over. That's it. You don't allow people to come back. He allowed them back in, and now they've gone on and lost to Manchester City. Yes, we'll always talk about the fact that the squad is very, very thin. But like I said, the blip should come earlier. But for Aston Villa, it's coming later. And I think Arsenal will look at that, and I think Arshavin will give them that lift. Not maybe in terms of performance levels, Arsenal suddenly, playing like they used to in the season when they won, when they went unbeaten. But a new guy coming in, fresh ideas, and I look at the reaction from the other players around him. They are beginning to raise their game as well.
Sure, but I just wanted to ask you, Shebby, we've been predicting Villa to have that blip, because of the squad being thin. I mean, it's come now, but it's something we've forecasted weeks on hand, right? I mean, somebody like Agbon Lahore, he's already played 39 games. I read that's a lot for a young lad.
It is. It is a lot, and also for this brand of football they play. I mean, they play at a very high tempo. For them, it's like 90 minutes of non-stop running and all. And physically, I'm sure Bojan will explain to us later, but physically it takes a lot out of the players, and suddenly performance levels begin to drop a little bit.
And they're still in the UEFA Cup, they're still in the FA Cup as well. Perhaps getting knocked out of the Cup would be...
I think getting knocked out of the UEFA Cup was a good thing for them. So now the FA Cup, I mean, I think they should sometimes when you look at coaches and you think, is it a gamble for them to get knocked out of a cup competition to concentrate on the league? I think for O'Neill, he should do that. Just concentrate on the league and fourth spot.
Yeah, well, got to ask you to put your neck on the line, Shebby. Who's going to finish fourth, Arsenal or Aston Villa?
I'm going to say Aston Villa simply because I support Spurs.
All right, well, put that now. Zack, I mean, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to echo Shebby's thoughts about Villa. You know, I mean, like I said, we predicted the tractor beam would be pulling them down, and I don't see anything else to change my opinion of that. I think it's fourth or even fifth spot because I support Everton.
Right, Everton are just below Arsenal, yeah. All right, great stuff, guys, but we've got to take a short break right now, but we'll be right back before you know it here on Football Everyday, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Football Everyday here on the second segment of today's show. And as promised, we're now joined by our very special guest today, Mr. Bojan Hodak, who is the head coach of My Team FC in the Super League, the Malaysian Super League. Of course, welcome, Bojan. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show.
Morning, pleasure to be here.
Being Croatian, got to ask you first, you know, what is your view on the development of Croatian players currently playing in the EPL? What do you think of, you know, people like Kranja, Modric, Choluka?
Well, I think that all of them need some time because they're coming from Croatian league, which is, to be honest, quality is not the highest. Lots of young players playing, and they need some time wherever they go out of Croatia. But especially it's difficult for them to come to England because in England it's quite physical game. So all European players, even some of top European players like Shevchenko, he couldn't adapt for this league. Never mind. So, like I said, it's at least 6 months they need to adapt. This is what, if you look at Eduardo, Wenger said that he needed around 6 months. He started to play after 3-4 months. Then unfortunately he was injured, but you need to give to all the players some time.
Right. And on the subject of young players, Bo, I mean, you came into the country and you set up a very successful youth development model with Little League Soccer. What were your first impressions about youth football when you first arrived here?
To be honest, it was horrible. But luckily, I played in Singapore, so I know roughly. I played there 5 years, so I understand Southeast Asia. I understand how they're working here. But for me, it was shocked that there is no clubs, because in the rest of the world, everybody follow youth development. You cannot start actually the senior squad without having youth development. If you are playing the lowest division, they don't ask. They ask maybe under 18, under 15. But when you come to the top level, any top European or South American club, they have teams for every age group. So you have under 15, under 14, under 13, all the way. Now it's you have leagues in Europe for under 8. I know this because my nephew is playing football. He's now 7 years old. He have regular matches every week. And here in Malaysia, unfortunately, they're following all British system, which was based on schools. England and whole Britain changed this somewhere in 80s because they realized this is wrong, that in new development that players are not good as the rest of the world, but in Malaysia still they are a little bit late on that.
And when you talk about young players, Bojan, because you know, in Malaysia we have a habit of knocking young players by saying they don't work hard enough, they're not passionate enough. So what were your challenges with young players?
I don't think that is true. You know, it's easier to blame players, but I don't want to blame players because it's not his fault that nobody teach him some things. So when he come, the difference between, I would say, the average European player, average Malaysian player, is that average European player, when he's 18 or 19 or 20, he have technically, he's good, tactically he's good, he just needs this experience to play match experience at the highest level. Malaysian players, when they come to this level, still you need to teach them technical, basic tactical things. So I cannot blame them. I will more blame that they don't have experience. One also example, I would say Malaysian under 16 went with me to Croatia for tournament. They finished bottom. They were playing really nice football. If you look technically, they were not too far, but tactically they were very naive. They didn't have match experience. They didn't have competitive matches. So this is something where Where is the biggest problem? They don't have leagues in this level.
So, Bojan, I mean, you've mentioned your nephew playing in under 8 league. Now, if we were to adopt that model, I know it's a club team, but if we were to adopt that model nationwide, is it possible, or how can we do it?
I think that is very easy to do this, because if you look in Malaysia, you have zones, you have councils, so you can normally how you're starting the clubs is the area where people live. So you can easily have Bangsar Football Club, PJ Football Club, Shah Alam Football Club. You can arrange lots of clubs, and you can arrange your development. I don't think it needs lots of job, and you need few years, but I think that this model can be implemented in Malaysia quite easy.
Sorry, Shebby, I was just intrigued. You like to work with young players. You're my team, a very young team, right? Do you think that our local players, our local young players have the potential to become decent footballers now?
They have potential. The only thing is that they need to start to find them an earlier age.
Right. Right.
And one final question, Bojan, do you think we have the right technical expertise for youth development? I mean, we'll be nowhere without the coaches. Do we have that?
I think that they need to involve ex-footballers much more in coaching, because I think that they are better for that.
All right, great stuff, Bojan and guys. I've got to cut you off there for a short while, because it's time for another break here on Football Every Day. I will be back with segment 3, so stay tuned.
Okay.
And you're back with us once again on the third and final segment of today's show. Just before we resume the football chat, however, my buddy Zack has the updates on the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest, so take it away, Zack.
Cheers, Nelson. Okay, the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest is into week 4 now, and your final 2 questions will be coming out tomorrow in the Stars Football Everyday Pullout, so do look out for that. Once again, make sure to collect all 8 questions before compiling the answers. Complete your simple slogan and send your entries to us either by email at football@thestar.com.my. You can hand it to us by hand at our offices at Menara Star, or just mail it to us, snail mail, no later than Friday, March the 13th. Friday the 13th, people. At the end of the contest period, we will have a grand finale right here at the Studio V on April the 3rd, where the finalists will face off for the grand prizes even, which are of course 2 all expenses paid trips to the UK to catch Arsenal versus Chelsea live on May the 9th, courtesy of those lovely folk at Tiger FC.
Nice one, Zack. So, Gunners and Blues fans out there, wait no more. Get your final questions tomorrow. Submit your entries starting next week.
Yep, excellent.
Right, I believe we've got Mr. Bojan Hodak still with us.
Bo, what has been happening in the English League is that clubs like Aston Villa, for example, Spurs, have sacrificed the UEFA Cup to concentrate, like in Villa's case, on the league. Spurs tried to win the Carling Cup. Now, you yourself, My Team FC, have played 8 games in 21 days. Now, how do you prepare your team from game to game? I mean, how do you deal with this situation?
Well, it's very difficult. Here is on this weather, especially, you are sweating much more than in Europe. So it's you need longer time to recover. We are relatively well prepared. We're using some supplements, which many of the other teams doesn't use. So you can see the difference that comparing to other teams, we look fit. But the problem is that even for this weather, it's really too many games. You cannot recover on time. Players, one of the things about players here, they're not like in Europe, they don't have proper food. And on us, it's very difficult to play so many matches. And this is the things that I cannot change because they grow up. They have habit to eat this. I cannot change their food cultures suddenly. In Europe, they can recover, but still, it's even for them, it's too much. In Europe, they have all possible medicine, from oxygen, from injections, from changing blood, from giving all kind of the best supplements. But still, even for them, this will be too much.
So, in terms of tactical preparation, how do you do it? I mean, you don't have time. How would you deal with that?
Mostly between two trainings, between 2 matches. Sometimes you will have 1 training or maximum 2 trainings. So it's very, very difficult. But before pre-season, you prepare the team. So roughly, we know already who is playing which way. The only thing in the matches, we're trying to keep the ball possession more, because the other teams will then need to chase the ball and they will become more tired.
All right.
Okay.
And Nelson, I believe there's one team that doesn't need to rest. They're competing on all fronts.
And Man United.
Are you going to beat Fulham this weekend in the FA Cup?
I think so, but it depends on what team he's going to put out, because he'll have one eye on the Champions League.
Midweek.
Midweek, second leg with Inter Milan. That's where we're going to head actually. The FA Cup quarterfinals are happening this weekend. Among the interesting matchups include Chris Coleman's Coventry playing host to Chelsea. I mean, Shebby, potential banana skin or?
No, I think Chelsea have got too much about them. It will not be interesting. I think Coventry will give them a game, but it'll be typical Chelsea 1-0.
All right. Okay, and then as we mentioned, Man United on the same day. Man United tackle Fulham at Craven Cottage. And then, what kind of team do you foresee?
You have to preview that. Being a Man United supporter, you have to tell us.
I think he's going to give the youngsters. Possibly, you're going to see a mixed team again, I believe, because he's the same group got him the Carling Cup. And I think they've definitely got one eye on Inter Milan, and that is going to be.
So you reckon Sir Alex Ferguson has got two teams now, I think, of equal balance?
Yeah. I mean, equal quality, so I think Man U are going to, it won't be a big win,
to go through,
but I think they're going to go through.
Okay.
And on Sunday, Arsenal face Burnley at the Emirates, and I think barring any upsets, the Gunners should come through. But I've got to ask you, Zack, a home tie for Everton against Middlesbrough, with a spot in the semi-finals at stake.
Right.
Can Everton keep up their good run in the competition?
Well, I mean, it's quite scary because, Borough obviously got beat yesterday by Spurs.
Right.
And, that would normally charge a team up, I think Borough will be wanting to retrieve some pride, having been beat by Spurs so badly. It's going to be a tough game, but Everton are good at home, and we want the cup, so come on,
Everton to go through?
Yeah, it's a good tie. It's a good tie for Everton. Everton have had to play Liverpool twice in the cup, had to play Villa.
So it's going to be all Premier League semi-final then. Semi-finals. Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, and Everton to go through.
Barring some amazing thing, I would say so.
Okay, so just one last question for Bojan. Bojan, who would you pick to win the Champions League this season?
And don't
who would
say
you like to see?
City, Bojan.
Well, still I will go to Barcelona or Liverpool.
Oh, come on.
Barcelona or Liverpool.
All right. Bojan, thanks a lot for joining us today. That's Football Everyday, guys. If you've got anything to say, share with us. Do drop us an email at football@thestar.com.my. Till we see you next Thursday, enjoy football and ciao.